Hello, everyone. My name is Stanley St. Rose, and today we're going to be talking about the novel The House of Mirth, written by Edith Wharton. Now, before I go into the summary and explanation of this novel, please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and/or comment so that the channel can continue to grow. The novel The House of Mirth is very interesting. Throughout this novel, we follow the character by the name of Lily Bart. At the beginning of the novel, we were introduced to Lily Bart when she was a child. We were introduced to her mother and father. Her father basically works all day. He works 24/7 to make money for his wife and his daughter. Lily's mom is this type of individual who believes that the only way to live in life is to have money and to be wealthy. Not just wealthy to be in the upper middle class, but to be wealthy enough not to even work. She wants to be part of the 1% of New York City within the 20th century. And so Lily's mother kind of like establishes this idea within Lily's mind that it's better to die rather than to live in poverty. And Lily lives her entire life with this mindset that, death is better than being alive and being poor and living like a pig and rolling around in filth. So, after all of this is revealed to us, quickly what happens is Lily's father loses his finances, he loses his money, um, and he says that he's ruined. He dies shortly after, and Lily's mom dies too. And so Lily goes to live with her aunt, and she has an allowance that her aunt gives her here and there. It's not really a set income that she gets every month. It's kind of like whenever her aunt wants to give her money, she gives Lily money. So Lily wants to be rich. She wants to be wealthy, and the only way that one could do this within the 20th century is by getting married. If you don't get married as a woman in the 20th century, there's not really an opportunity or opportunities available for you to become rich because in the 20th century, most women were not going to college. Most colleges didn't even accept women as students, and you're not really getting into business. In the 20th century, America was pretty much a man's world, basically. So the only way that Lily could escape poverty and not be a working individual is by marrying rich. So throughout the novel, we follow her and her schemes or the things that she sets up so that she can marry somebody wealthy. And she actually stumbles upon a lot of opportunities. A lot of men want to marry her because she's young and beautiful. She's not that young. She's 29, and in the 20th century, women were getting married, as teenagers. So being 29 and not married is something that's not surprising, but most people would expect to be married before the age of 29. So from the get go, you kind of learn that Lily's time is running out, and she doesn't have forever to find someone to get married, and have kids and a family and all of that. So opportunities keep knocking at Lily's door, but she doesn't accept them. She wants to marry the rich of the rich. Um, and what happens quickly is that she kind of falls in love with this guy by the name of Lawrence Selden. Both Lily and Lawrence Selden, they have chemistry between the two of them, but they both they don't recognize their love for each other at the same time. When one recognizes it, the other doesn't, and they never find an area where they both are at the same place, and so that part of the story ends sadly. So the story goes on, and Billy gets into some trouble. She gambles a lot. She thinks she's good at gambling, but she's not. And that's very significant, and we'll discuss that more in the analysis part of this video. So she's not a good gambler. She owes a lot of people money, and she's getting into debt. And what happens is she takes her allowance and she gives it to this individual by the name of Trainer. Now Trainer tells Lily that he's going to help her by investing her money into business funds, or investing into to so that he can make more money for her. He doesn't really do this. It was all a lie. He basically takes the money that she gives him, and he gives her his own money. Um, because he wants sexual favors from her. He wants Lily to be his mistress. So when Lily finds out about this, she doesn't want that. Wasn't she didn't want to be that. She wanted to marry somebody, not be someone's mistress. So the story goes on, and Lily's reputation starts to go down the drain. The significant part of the story that really damages Lily's reputation is the fiasco that takes place with Lily and the Dorsets. Basically, what happens is Mrs. Dorset is a very smart woman. She has an affair that's going on with somebody else. Yeah, she has an affair that's going on, and one night when they were on a cruise, she invited Lily to this cruise. While they're on a cruise, to cover up her own affair, she accuses Lily of sleeping with Mr. Dorset. And you know, she Mrs. Dorset is a woman that has a lot of social status. People are going to believe her. So in this upper class society of people that are all from old money, they don't work. Most of them never worked a day in their lives. So gossip goes around very fast. When you have nothing to do on a daily basis, you have time to gossip. So Lily's reputation after the Dorset fiasco is pretty much ruined. Most people don't. Most of the men that were after her for her beauty and her and who she was, they pretty much wanted nothing to do with her after this whole fiasco thing. Because there's rumors going around that she's trainer's mistress, and there's rumors going around that she's in a lot of debt, and there's rumors going around that she had an affair with Mr. Dorset, and so her name is going down the drain. She doesn't know where she stands with Lawrence Selden. And one of the most significant characters within the story, by the name of Rosedale, Simon Rosedale, um, is very significant because at the beginning of the story, Rosedale wanted to marry Lily, and he is perhaps one of the most richest individuals within this story. He offered Lily to be his wife, right? They both wanted the same thing. They both wanted to be recognized as rich, powerful individuals, people that had to, in a way, work their way up to success. Um, Rosedale is new money. He's somewhat accepted within the top 1% of this society, but not really. That's because all these people are old money. They inherited everything that they have from their parents and their family line. Rosedale, he worked hard by creating businesses and buying land and doing all types of things to be wealthy. And they kind of see this, 1%. They kind of see Rosedale as this new thing that's kind of like coming into their territory. Rosedale wanted to solidify his place within this type of social society by marrying somebody within it, such as Lily, and they could have been a powerful couple. But when Rosedale asked Lily to marry him, Lily rejected Rosedale because she believed that she could have done better. At the end of the novel, when we get closer to the end of the novel, and Lily has no other options to get married, she goes back to Rosedale and says, I'm ready to marry you now. And Rosedale says, ha ha ha, I don't want to marry you anymore. And, he basically laughs in her face and he says, I want nothing to do with you. And Lily, she's upset and she sees that she has no more cards to play. He explains to her why. He said that he truly wanted to be with her. He truly wanted to marry her, but because of the fact that she has tarnished her reputation, he doesn't want to marry her because that's going to ruin his own reputation. Because he doesn't want to marry someone who's seen as he doesn't want his wife to be seen as this person that's in a lot of debt, that's been having affairs here and there. So he doesn't want all of that on his name, on his businesses. So at the end of the novel, Lily has no more options. She has no men to get married. Her aunt ends up dying. So, she can't rely on her aunt anymore. And she's kind of like, there's several points in the novel where Lily's saying, I'm such, it's my life is so unfortunate. I never get a break. Bad things keep happening to me. Keep in mind, this is a 29-year-old woman that's never worked a day in her lives, never had it hard, never had a job. Her parents were taking care of her, then her aunt was taking care of her. She had an allowance. This is a good amount of allowance. It wasn't like $1 million a month, but it was a good enough allowance to have a good life. So she's whining, she's saying, my life is bad. There's so much bad things happening to me. I never get a break and all of that. And now, at the end, close to the end of the novel, she doesn't have that much money anymore. So she has to get a job. She ends up getting a job at this hat factory where she works on hats. And this is such a bad thing, man. Poor Lily. It's really tough. You have a job. A job is just a crazy thing, man. What Lily, it's nasty to work. It's crazy to work. But like, why do people work? Like, it's just a bad thing for Lily, and a job is just insulting to her. She never saw herself as a working woman. She saw herself as the wife of a rich man that sits around all day and have her servants take care of her. It's life is so tough for Lily. So she has this job. She ends up losing it. She loses it, and she's in this poor part of New York. She's not in even the middle class. She's in the poor of the poor. I mean, she hates her life. She hates how everything is going for her. And this is where we reach the end of the novel. Basically, what happens is Lily had this draft, this medicine that she was taking to sleep. She couldn't sleep on her own, so she bought this medicine that was going to help her to sleep. The chemist, the pharmacist that she went to go see, he told her that you can't take more than I'm telling you to take of this medicine. If you take more than I'm telling you, you might die. And throughout the novel, some people say that Lily had this medicine. She was just using it to sleep. Some people said that at the end of the novel, I'm just going to tell you guys this now. She dies, right? She dies. Some people say that her death is an accident, and some people say that it's not. I personally believe that Lily's death was suicide, and there's enough evidence to prove this. The reason why is because she knew exactly what she was doing. She knew exactly what dosage to take to not die, and the chemist warned her what to do and what not to do. So she ends up taking this draft. Before she takes it, she had all her fancy dresses. She looked at them. She got this $10,000 check from her aunt that passed away. That was pretty much what she got from the aunt's will. She takes this $10,000. She writes a check for a trainer because she owed him $10,000. She looks at her dresses, admires them, looks at how beautiful they are, puts them back, writes letters, and kind of like put everything in order. And then she takes more of the draft than she needed to, and she dies. And that's pretty much Lily's story. After she dies, Selden does discover her body. It's kind of revealed that he wanted to get married to her or that he loved her, but it's too late now because she's dead. And that's pretty much the end of the story. Now, let's talk about the explanation and analysis, right? I believe that Lily Bart committed suicide, and there's enough evidence to prove this. The reason why I'm saying this is because when you look at the story, the first point of evidence that I want to bring up is that there's several times within the story she passes in front of this chemist store or this pharmacy shop, and she tries to avoid it several times. Sometimes she tries to go around it, sometimes she tries to go behind it. She does everything that she can to not go into the store or to not pass near it. That tells me that she was perhaps thinking about committing suicide, and she knows that in that store there is a medicine that is in there that I can take that would probably kill me, and maybe my death by taking this might not be so painful. So that gives me some evidence that tells me maybe she was thinking about suicide. The next piece of evidence that I'm going to talk about here is that the chemist told Lily the exact measurements of this drug to take to fall asleep. He said, if you take more than this, you will die, right? He said, do not take more of this. At the end of the novel, Lily knows what the chemist told her, but she decides to take more than what the chemist told her, anyways. She even justified by saying, it's one out of 100 people. What are the odds? That's what she said. So she takes it, even though that she knows the dosage is over the limit that she's taking. She takes it anyway, putting her life on the line, right? She puts her life on the line. It was too much. She ends up dying, and that's it. And what can we say from this is that she knew how much to take that could kill her. We knew that she was avoiding the store. The other thing is, we know that from birth, her mother told her to hate that death is better than poverty. And at the end of the novel, Lily is in poverty. She's living in the poorest part of New York. She's in poverty. She feels like she has no future, and she's poor. And her mother told her it's better to die than to be poor. And so she takes too much of this medicine and she dies. So with all of that, I do believe that there is enough evidence to say that Lily committed suicide, and that's why I'm questioning the fact that it was an accident. It was. I do not believe it was an accident. I think it was intentional. So that is part. That is how I believe. That is like Lily's mindset. That's what I believe her mindset to be. Um, she always had an opportunity to change the course of her life. If she had waited another day, perhaps Selden could have proposed to her and they could have had a good life together. So different things could have happened for her life to end up in a better way. So if we go into some deeper analysis of this novel, let's look at the title. The title here is The House of Mirth. When you look at the definition of mirth, it means laughter. So the House of Laughter. What I can take from this, and from my perspective of analyzing this, what I take from it is that I think that what Lily goes through, there is some parts of it that are very ludicrous. Here's what I'm trying to say. Lily had all the opportunities in the world. This woman, her first job was when she was pretty much 30 years old, right? She had wealthy parents. She had a wealthy aunt. She was taken care of left and right. Everything were just given to her. She had men throwing themselves at her left and right. There's some parts of the novel that even suggest if Lily wanted to marry Mr. Dorset, Dorset would have divorced his wife to be with Lily because Lily is very beautiful. She can wear a dress very well. That's something that is presented and that is suggested within the novel. I'm not just saying that. So she's admired at the beginning of the novel. She's admired by the characters. Everybody love her. All of the men are throwing themselves at her. Lawrence could have married her. A lot of things could have taken place for her life to be exactly how she wanted it. But she never accepted people's proposal. She didn't accept Rosedale's proposal. She teeter tottered on Selden. Um, you know, she had several opportunities, but because she was indecisive, because she made some weird decisions, her life ended up in poverty. This is a woman who had everything, who could have been anything she wanted, all in the confounds of the 20th century. That is, um, you know, it's hard to feel bad for her because this wasn't a woman who, she didn't really have to struggle. It's kind of like she wanted her life to be amazing, but it's only by her terms. She wanted to do it herself. She wanted to plot everything out and see it through her eyes and make it true through her eyes. And life can't be planned out point by point. Sometimes things shift. Just like, a stream has bends and twists, life has those bends and twists, and you can't control the direction that they take. You just gotta you have to be able to shift with it and to adapt to different situations. Lily only had this one mindset in her mind, and it's only to be rich and to marry a rich man and to be a part of the 1% of the 20th century, um, the society of 1% in 20th century New York, right? And that didn't happen for her. And there's, you don't have to be rich. You don't have to be at the 1% of society to have a good life. Um, there's people in the middle class, doctors, lawyers, and different people that she could have married that would have been happy to be with her. they weren't the richest of the rich, but they used to have wonderful and good lives. She could have married anybody from there, even when she fell from, um, you know, the creme de la creme. So it's kind of laughable. Going back to the title here, it's kind of laughable when she's saying, woe is me. Life is so bad for me, man. I never get a break. Um, Everything is just, I'm just unfortunate. Bad things keep happening to me. Even though throughout the novel, there's several people coming left and right to help her out. She always has this mindset that things are bad and there's nothing good in this life for me. And now I'm poor. I have to work. A job is so horrible. So that's her book. That's what happens. That's her story. Um, I think that on a personal level, on a human level, in terms of our reality, what we can take from this is that you have to be able to um, adapt, right? And also, your parents can guide you. Your parents can be very beneficial to you. Your parents can lead you in the right direction, but you have to think for yourself sometimes. Lily latched on and believed to that one saying that her mother established within her, and that saying was, "Better to be um, dead rather than live a poor life." That's the idea that Lily lived on. And if she could have thought for herself and thought about what she really wanted in life or different things that she could have gotten from life, her life could have been ended up in a better situation, a better place. So that's my summary and analysis of the novel The House of Mirth by Edith Wharton. Thank you for watching. Remember, please leave a like, subscribe, and or comment, and I'll see you guys in the next video.